everybody, welcome to Smashing Game Time. We are two brothers that go through gaming's back catalog of yesteryear. Happy GOTYSO to everyone who celebrates. We're doing an abbreviated GOTYSO this year. That's right. Just like Christmas that mom and dad forgot, we're doing a half-butted GOTYSO. Right, Josh?
Well, not to say that we forgot. It's been a little chaotic in both of our household the past couple weeks, so we're just not as energetic as we normally are.
Well, and you know the sick shit is that we had it already. I'm gonna flash over to the other page real quick. We had all the other categories ready to just about ready to go. We had done
most of them pretty much to go.
We were ready. We were gung ho. We were like, oh, we're gonna record the shit out of this, and then I had a sick kid. Josh got a job.
I'm working on having a kid.
He's working on having a kid. That's right. An almost new poppy. Josh, congratulations.
Thank you. Well, let's just not get our hopes up just yet. But yeah, everything's looking good that end.
Let's knock on wood. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not count. Well, God, I almost said let's not count our chickens before they hatch. But bad metaphor. We're skipping.
Metaphor.
We're gonna move past it. We're gonna do GOTYSO today. So the rules this year, so GOTYSO, for those who don't know, is the game of the year so far. And we're going to pick out the top games of 2024. And a new rule for Smashing Game Time this year is the game didn't have to be released anywhere near 2024. It could be something that we just finally checked out in 2024 and we're really vibing with. So we've got a list of about 25-ish, 30-ish games here that we're going to whittle down to 10, and we're going to make a top 10.
Also, Andy brought up a good question because I told her about GOTYSO, and she had to stop me and make me think. So we called it GOTYSO, GOTYSO, abbreviated.
Yeah.
What does the O like? Obviously, it's like so, as in like so far. But Andy asked, why isn't there an F?
So this is something that came up in the marketing for it last year. You remember when I made like the pretty rainbow charcoal colored like ads, and I called it GOTYSO. And at that point, it was between calling it Game of the Year so far and Game of the Year sort of. But I like saying,
yeah, I remember this conversation now.
I like saying so far better just because when you say
it rolls off the tongue easier.
It rolls off the tongue easier. But then when it comes to the abbreviation, I like GOTYSO. So I kind of just meet in the middle and call it GOTYSO.
I forgot when she asked me, I was just like, honestly, it's been over a year at this point. I don't even remember why we called it that.
And honestly, just assume the F is silent.
Well, if it's silent, it would still be there if you spell it out.
Well, and I wanted GOTYSO. GOTYSO is mine. I don't need to trademark it or anything, but it's mine. If you come for GOTYSO, I will come for you, and not in the good way.
We probably should go ahead and claim our stake there.
We're not copywriting. I'm not Paris Hilton. I'm not one of those people that needs to own a word, but it is mine.
Well, it wouldn't be a word; it's an abbreviation. So we would just want the marketing for it. We don't care if we sell it for people to use it, or if people use it for free. We just want to have it so that way it's linked to us.
My thing is, if someone's wearing a GOTYSO t-shirt, and people, like, let's say people become aware of GOTYSO, how it relates to us, and someone's wearing a GOTYSO t-shirt, I think there's no harm in that, because they're like, oh, just like those other guys. And then the person wearing the shirt's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And I love that.
Right, but we can make it a thing where, like, hey, we don't care if we use it, just make sure you mark us. You should give us a shout out.
I don't need it. I'm not litigious. Steal from me. I don't care.
I'm just saying on a marketing standpoint. That's all. I would eventually like to make this a full-time job and have it pay for everything, and then we can give people the things they crave and deserve, like GOTYSO.
I would too. But hey, Josh, guess what? It's your turn to pay for the website this year.
How much was it?
I think it was like 200 bones.
When does it due?
I think it's September.
Okay, I've got time. That was that way. I don't have a paycheck right now, so
I'll invoice you, motherfucker.
Right,
but before hey, so we're excited about GOTYSO. So before we get into that, Josh, you have a package.
Yes. So a while ago, and it's been a while, our lovely editor over at Game Chronicles, almost said Gamer Chronicles, like, oh, I want to get in trouble. Mark mysteriously sent me a package.
Yes. Okay.
Now, I have no idea what's in here.
I do.
However, I have an idea of what it is. And if it is what I think it is, I'm going to be I'm the biggest smile across my face. I'm going to go immediately to do whatever I can to protect this and make this a national treasure. But at the same time, I don't know what it is.
So I'm gonna describe it. Josh is holding a big USPS box. It's got tape all around it. I think there's a biohazard sticker on it. Be careful.
There is. Yes.
Be careful.
It says careful, fragile.
So go ahead and open it in front of the mic. Get all that ASMR goodiness in there. You know what? With the tape, be careful. Ooh.
Do you hear that?
Slower.
I'm trying to be careful, but it's hard.
Cut it slower. You are the worst at opening packages.
Rude.
You got to get in there. What are you doing?
I'm trying to be gentle. I don't know what's in here. For all I know, there's a bomb here for all I know.
It's been at your house for a few weeks now. It would have exploded.
It could be a pressure sensitive. As soon as I open it, boom. Yeah.
That'd be the greatest thing that ever happened to this show. You just blowing up.
I already see it. Oh, there's two things in here. Oh.
Come on, use your radio. Use your words. This is an audio first podcast, you goober.
Man. Hold on. Okay. So first off, everybody, if you are a fan of the show, I need my white gloves. Hold on.
He's putting on his gloves. He's serious about this, everybody.
I'm very serious. I'm about to cry. I'm that serious.
Can you snap them? Oh, they're not snappy, are they?
No.
You're fucking putting white gloves on. What?
Shut your mouth.
What are you, an auctioneer?
Yes. So, for those fans of the show, one of my favorite franchises is the Deus Ex franchise.
We just hope that you learn how to pronounce it one day.
How do you pronounce it? Am I not pronouncing it right?
You were like Deus Ex. It's Deus Ex.
Whatever. I have here from Mark, and Mark, I have the biggest smile across his face if you're not watching, a signed copy that he had when he reviewed it with them.
With Eidos, right? With the Eidos team?
Yes.
That is beautiful.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's that's Human Revolution, right?
This is Human Revolution, the very first one that has Jensen, the main character. Goodness. It's in a sleeve.
Silver signature. Who do you know by chance who signed? Like, do you know those people?
I cannot read their signatures, to be honest with you. I see an A.
Can I come over and sign it?
No.
That is pretty. I like that.
This is very pretty.
You said there was something else in the box?
There's more.
Oh, fuck.
So let me put this back in here.
It's a new car.
I wish. So I'm going to start with the small... No, I'm going to start with the bigger one, because I know what the small one is after a close examination. So, I could probably take my gloves off for this one. I actually don't know. I have to research.
He doesn't give a shit about this gift. Look, he just said that.
No, I do. I just don't know.
Said that, Mark.
I did not. Shut your mouth.
He implied it.
Because I'm not sure what it exactly it is 100%, because I don't recognize it. I mean, I recognize, but I don't know exactly. But it looks like a Jensen action figure.
All right. Does he do his arms like do that thing where they turn and like it becomes a gun?
Let me grab that next package.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's him done. He can't stand right now. Oh, I'm shaking. This is so cool. You laughed.
Josh just had a shaking orgasm for the first time on the podcast. I've been trying for years.
It comes with the assault rifle you get in the game.
Hold it a little lower. There you go. Ooh.
The blade.
Oh,
I dropped it.
And he fucking broke it.
Thanks, Mark. I already broke it. One of the blade arms.
Okay, for those only listening, he did not break it, but he's being very, very, being not careful.
Gentle. And then there's actually for both of them, so we got both of his blade arms.
So you can change them out and go play with him with your Barbies upstairs.
Yep. So
Barbie, it's a human revolution. One of his hands.
Hold on.
Barbie, it's a human revolution. Barbie, you don't understand. They're turning us into machines. We have to get out.
The lolly do they low. Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
Wrong video game, Josh. Wrong cyborg. So wait, are you changing his guns on camera?
Putting his pew pew. We can't say gun, Nick. His pew pew.
Wait, you can't say gun on YouTube?
No, I think you say gun that, but I'm thinking for TikTok. I can't say gun. I have to say pew pew.
Man, fuck
And I
TikTok.
can't say
fuck
dead. I have
YouTube.
to say unalive.
You know what? While you're doing that, like there was like a thing that went viral on Twitter that was like making fun of like the hoops that YouTubers jump through to make sure their stuff doesn't get taken down off YouTube or demonetized. And it's fucking crazy. Fuck those places, you guys.
Like what exactly?
Like you can't curse in the first minute, which
Really?
I say fuck all that. I say fuck it all.
Pew 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 pew
Pew,
pew
pew, pew,
pew.
pew. The things they have to censor, you can only watch so much of like someone else's video, which I get. I'm not big on the reaction, folks, but fuck. But Josh,
So cool.
what do you say to Mark?
Mark, you are literally a god on earth. I'm going to treasure this for the rest of my life. It's going to be passed down through generations to the point where my grandchildren will go, "What the fuck am I looking at?" And I'll say, I'll make a fucking Daniel Tosh joke. Your future.
It'll be on eBay by the end of the day. Don't let him trick you, Mark.
No,
Broke
I
ass.
will treasure this. Oh, this is so cool.
While you clean up, while you get a rag and clean up, I'll do the real quick show stuff.
Let's go and do your real quick show stuff.
Everybody, you can find Smashing Game Time wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify. We are on Apple. We are on YouTube Podcast and YouTube proper. I don't give a fuck. We'll say whatever the fuck we want whenever the fuck we want. We're not gonna. Well, I don't think we said fuck in the first minute, so I think we're abiding by the rules today. But whatever. Find us there. The reviews. We don't give a fuck. Fuck the algorithm. Tell a friend. Word of mouth is king here. I don't fucking fuck with the machines. Josh is over here fucking with the machines, playing with his Deus Ex. Yeah, there's a disc in there, genius.
I know that. I'm just seeing if there's anything additional with it. That's all. I'm just curious.
There's a $50 Starbucks gift card in there for you.
Mark slipped in a 50 or something.
You open it and the disc is broken. There's a big scratch on it.
I wouldn't be that devastated because the case alone is worth it. This is so cool.
Now you just need a 360 to play it. Oh yeah, fuck me.
I have the Slim and I have the old white arcade one down here.
Are you gonna keep your gloves on the entire podcast
Yes.
while we
No,
do?
I'm gonna have to keep on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna have to. This is a delicate podcast.
Hey, if you got into, if you get into this kind of stuff, you need them.
Oh god, those are the cards from last time, right?
Yeah.
Those are Dragon? No, not Dragon Ball. The
My Hero Academia.
My
It's,
Hero
Crunchyroll's card
cards.
games.
Trading card games.
Universes.
I dabbled in Magic after college, and I dabbled in Yu-Gi-Oh after high school.
Yeah.
I've been on those. I've been on those.
My most expensive card I have is a $30 card. So
Oh, don't spend that all in one spot, motherfucker. Woo!
hey, I'll get that Charizard one day. Don't you worry.
No, I know how messy it is. If I turn my camera, you'll see that am I turning nope, I'm turning the wrong way. If I turn my camera for you real quick, you'll see my comic collection has grown.
Oh shit, it has.
Hey, all hard drive money, none of it like straight from like day job money. So that's been my kink. Like
If I start pitching you ideas to pitch to them and they get picked, would you split with me in some aspect?
if they're good ideas, yeah.
I can help with a few.
We'll talk about it off show, but for right now, it's time to get to the abbreviated GOTYSO. As much as this hurts me, folks, because this is my favorite time of the year. I love doing it when no one else is doing it. I love doing all the lists. I love doing the music, the covers, all of it. Just it wasn't humanly possible between all the stuff we're doing. So next year it's gonna be a fucking ball. I'll tell you what.
I think Game of the Year. I think Game of the Year will make it a big deal. I'll even wear a tux or something.
I'm not wearing fucking tux.
I'll do it for the fans. I'll even do a standing up where it's a green screen background and it'll have videos play while we're talking about them.
I like that. We're so unprofessional here. I wasn't even on the right screen when I clicked over. I'm a fucking mess, everybody. So, game of the year so far, we're going to pick a top 10. I'm going to read off the list of what we have here. Remember, don't get it twisted. We've got games on here that aren't from 2024. We got things on here that aren't even games. So if you're going to get mad, the door is right behind you, probably. If you're driving, the door is right next to you. Wait to get out of it until the car stops, though.
Or if there's a window, just go ahead and jump out of it. Second floor or not, you'll still live.
Well, make sure you have a soft landing plan. Don't
You might fracture an ankle.
Don't aim for the bushes because the bushes are always further away than you thought. Let's get to this list. We're losing everybody. They're like, "What the fuck? Shut the fuck up and give me the list." I'm not watching on YouTube, but you should. We're on YouTube. So, game of the year so far, or GOTYSO, if you will. We have Helldivers 2, Pepper Grinder, Reveal, What Remains of Edith Finch, Firewatch, Children of the Sun, Pal World, Wordle, Fortnite, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, Stellar Blade, the Fallout TV series, Fallout 76, Balatro, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Ultros, Legend of Legaia, Resident Evil 2 DualShock, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Lost Odyssey, Gone Home, Super Meat Boy, Ron Yet, Hashtag Blood, Transistor, Nuclear Blaze, Banana, Haunty, Resident Evil 5, and Gray Zone Warfare. Josh, I'm noticing there's no escape from Tarkov here. Have you finally escaped from Tarkov?
I like to think that, yes, I have escaped the simulation. I am now one with the world.
Congratulations on successfully escaping. So we have a long list here.
Long
I will say it is mostly 2024 games, but we do have some sprinkles of older games here.
And we even have a TV series in there.
Hey, I like it. I thought it was a good idea to include it. I thought it was like one of the better things that come out this year.
Set with it. I'm just saying, like, hey, it was such a good TV series. We threw it into a Game of the Year so far category.
That's right.
That's pretty impressive.
It might win Game of the Year.
Shit.
At the end of the year. That'd be some shit. So I'm looking at this list, and man, like there's some good stuff here. There are two continuing games that I play on here that are Wordle and Fortnite. If I had to cut one, oh man, but I really enjoy it. Like I look forward to my Wordle in the morning.
Yeah, but Wordle's like one of those, do you know, like all those games that were like announced, I think like back 2014, 2015, they were like, oh, this game's going to allow you to age your character. Once they're dead for good. You can't get them back whatsoever.
So are you saying for Wordle that I'm that character?
Well, you only get to do one and then you're done.
But also I'm dying. So when I die, I don't get to play Wordle.
Well, yeah, because if you fail enough, then you get the answer.
If you fail Wordle enough, the New York Times shows up and shoots you in the head.
Yes.
They're like, you fucking idiot.
A New York Times executive comes out of nowhere and just blasts you.
He comes up and he or she, they come up and they're like, it's not pussy. Stop guessing pussy. It's not in the dictionary. Fuck you.
There's no Y's. There's no S's.
We can get rid of Wordle. I've been enjoying it. I think I've been enjoying Fortnite more. The latest season is very car-based. I didn't think I was going to like it. Because there was a season 2 years ago that I really liked that was very battle bus heavy. It had tanks, it had battle buses. But if you had a full squad on a bus, you could just tear other teams apart. And I thought that it would be pretty much like that. But the game feels pretty balanced car-wise, because if you're not in a car, you can pretty much... they added like Magneto's like metal throwing ability that is like just nasty against cars. And he also has a shield ability. And it's fun to play. It's fun to hop in a car and just cause chaos. The car fights are really good. It makes the map feel completely different when you're in a car fighting other cars and when you're out of a car fighting cars. It feels like two completely different games sometimes. I haven't played the new game mode they recently added that I think is like 40, like 10 teams of 4, and I forget what it's called. But it sounds fun. My squad hasn't been on as much lately to play that, and I don't want to play with randoms. I think Fortnite can stay for now.
Well, I'm going to start at the top of the list here since we have this all nice categorized and everything. I don't really know, whatever. Helldivers 2 made a very strong impression out the gate.
And you know, I don't think them losing 90% of their player base is really going to diminish it.
No, it's because let's be honest. The same thing happened to Power World earlier this year. When it came out. Same thing happened to Fallout 76 after the Fallout TV show came out. Like it happens. You're gonna get the few, like you're gonna get that 10%, 20% that are like loyal to it. They're gonna stay with it. But that 90%, I mean, it's okay. So for those not aware, a big issue that they had further down the road after being released was Sony made it an issue where you had to have a PSN account and sign in to be able to continue playing it. And for what was the list, Nick? 170 something countries.
A bunch of them just didn't. You weren't able to.
You're just not able to. It's against the law.
Right. You couldn't have a PSN.
Countries.
They weren't. Yeah.
And so Sony was just like, "Yeah, fuck you guys. Okay, bye." It's like, no, that's not fair. Why would release a game that you don't need to sign into initially? Make it where you have to sign in, and then for those other countries, tell them, "Yeah, sorry, sucks to suck." First off, you probably shouldn't have released it in those countries to begin with. I don't know who the marketing people over there are.
I did like that. Well, it's all Sony, but I did like that the developer, like when people were bitching, the developer was essentially like, go bitch at Sony.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like,
them.
guys, we can't do anything about it. We've done everything we can. Go, don't tell us, tell them. And I agree with them. Like, I'm not going to be mad at the developer. It's not their fault.
Yeah, the developer's at the whim of whoever's giving them money. And you could argue like, he kind of put his publisher in a bad place. But the publisher was doing a boneheaded thing, and they're doing it across the board with all their games. I think Ghost of Tsushima had the same issue.
Yep.
I don't know if they're getting review bombed either.
They were at some point, but I don't think they are now. But even then, like when Ragnarok comes to, Ragnarok's now on PC, right? Or was that what they just released recently on PC?
I think Ragnarok just did come. If not, it's
okay.
Coming.
So I say it either came or it is coming, but they're going to make a requirement for that too. And it's like, it's a single player game. Why do I need to sign in? Like, obviously, I agree with the why bother? Why do I have to make a sign in? Like, I think when I look at all the other like Xbox, for example, Microsoft. I think the only game that I had that required me to sign into Xbox to play was the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, and that's just because, that's so that everyone can play on that same.
Exactly. So it's like that, to me, that makes sense. And then if you look at like Grand Theft Auto, similar thing. I think they made you sign into Rockstar, but I think it was only so you could play with all the other consoles.
Well, and the thing about this is, out of the gate, Helldivers 2 worked without it, and you were playing with everybody.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
And I get that from a marketing standpoint, you want to have that data so you know what you can,
if you
have all that information.
If you're gonna do it out the gate. Don't
backpedal.
Don't be the old man in the commercial. Oh, you almost got it. Don't present it later on. Just do it.
Here's my problem, and they even say it's because of limitations. And my thing is, okay, if you're gonna throw that as an excuse, I look at Microsoft. I look at Rockstar. Both of them had it in their games from the start. There is no limitations. You were just being super lazy, or you were behind.
Well,
push Sony that back, or don't include it.
Sony was always the one kind of dragging their feet when it came to crossplay. Anyway, at least last generation they were.
They were very much. They were the reason why it took so long. They kept pushing back, like, oh, we don't want to do that. Like, okay, guys, your console sales are not hurting you whatsoever. Like, come on.
Well, they had the lead. Of course, Microsoft wants it when they're like, hey, we're in dead fucking last. We need this. And Sony,
guess what? They did it, and they're still a dead fucking last.
Yeah, Sony didn't need to. Sony was like, okay, I guess we'll play it. Sony was like the rich kid that was like being forced to hang out with their poor neighbor. Is that have to?
Sony is just pissed that Microsoft, even though they were losing, was able to buy Activision Blizzard. She's like, what the fuck? Why didn't we buy them?
Call of Duty's ours. Well, I digress. Helldivers 2 stays. I haven't played it in months, but it
made a strong impression. It made a strong impression. It has a great, like, there's no story. I mean, there is a story to it, but there's no story to it, and there's so much lore that's being built onto it as we continue. And plus, they've done so many cool events, like that whole either get the new weapons package or save the children, and everybody save the children, so they actually donated a bunch of money to the children's foundation. Like
I'm glad they saved the children. Oh my god, that could have been bad news.
Yeah.
These Helldivers don't like children.
Fuck the kids.
Pepper Grinder can also stay for now. Pepper Grinder's probably going to. I'm gonna write my top 10 for the website, Josh. I'm gonna assume you will as well.
Yes. Yes.
Pepper Grinder is going to be towards the top of my list. It feels so tight to play. It's so good. It's my favorite game to play with my son right now. Between that and Meat Boy, and it just it's a game that keeps you, because you think you're going to get bored of it. You think, okay, I see the gimmick. You guys aren't going to be able to drag this out for another 3 hours. And they find a way to keep it entertaining for the next 3 hours. And I've actually got it's either 25 or 30 hours on Steam in this game, and it's a 3-hour game.
Worth it.
It's fucking good. So Pepper Grinder can stay. In that same breath, I'm okay with taking away Super Meat Boy. It's another sentimental game I've been playing a lot with my son. He will come home and say, "Let's play Deet Boy," and he'll cheer on Meat Boy, and he'll laugh at Meat Boy getting hurt. There's when you have the third boss fight with Brownie, who is basically just Meat Boy but a pile of shit. He's throwing bricks at Brownie. At Dr. Fetus is, and I don't tell my son, "Yeah, that's Dr. Fetus." I say, "Hey, that's the doctor. That is the doctor. That's not Dr. Fetus." But he's like, "Oh, he's throwing," like us to be like, "Oh, he's throwing things at that guy." Like, yeah, don't throw bricks. Like, don't throw bricks or rocks at people. That's mean. And then Meat Boy, like after Brownie falls into the abyss and dies, Meat Boy jumps over to Dr. Fetus, and Dr. Fetus looks like he's about to like hit a button on a remote. But he actually just throws the remote at Meat Boy and knocks him down. And we both laugh. And I'm like, but don't throw. I just wanted to bring that up. But Super Meat Boy can go super bye-bye. I love that game. Can't believe it's 14 years old at this point. It's going to be in high school next year.
These kids, I swear.
These kids. Josh, I didn't know you were playing Lost Odyssey.
Yes, actually I am playing Lost Odyssey. One of the perks of pulling out the Xbox was so I could play it, because they don't plan on re-releasing it on any console anytime soon, along with Blue Dragon.
Those were both Square, right?
Yes. No. Lost Odyssey was Square. Blue Dragon, I think, was Bandai Namco.
Okay. I've only played the opening and watched people play the opening of Lost Odyssey, where you're fighting these big robots and you've got like one in front of you, one behind you. You have to keep. It's turn-based, right? It's like there turn-based of the old.
Yeah, it's from the creator of Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Or one of the creators. I don't know how you ever want to look at it at that point. So essentially, you play as an immortal named, I think it's Call. I can't remember off the top of my head. I've seen it. Like, I've seen the name once, and they don't ever really say it again. But basically, you play as an immortal. An immortal is somebody who cannot die, and essentially they have no memories of their past. Like, literally, like Nick was saying, in the opening scenes of the game, you're in the middle of a battlefield. You're fighting all of these enemy soldiers, and then all of a sudden, this huge machine comes out, and you have to fight it. And after you defeat it, a meteor comes crashing down in the middle of the battlefield, and you're directly at the epicenter of it, and you're the only survivor.
This game's got like that brown scale, like grayish look to it of like the era, right?
Yes, like it looks better. I'll admit on the Series X than like I tried it on the 360 just to see what it looked like, and by God, it's like awful.
I remember it was a muddy looking game, and I remember watching it on someone's like brand new TV, and I was like, oh, this looks muddy as fuck.
Yes, and then playing it on the Series X, I can admit it looks and feels 10 times better. It's not as, it was very stuttery. I think it was only getting, maybe if you were lucky, like 30 or 40 frames per second.
Do you think this makes our overall top 10?
No, I haven't played enough to really get into the nitty gritty of it. It's very nostalgic. I know I've beaten the first disc, and this was a 4-disc game if I remember correctly.
It was
when it came out. So I know I've beaten the first disc, and I know some of the plot, but it's still fairly fresh in my mind right now where I'm at, and I don't remember half of it.
Lost Odyssey is lost in the woods, and it's going bye-bye.
It might, if we do Game of the Year where we're allowed to bring stuff in, it might come back. So my plan is to beat it hopefully soon.
Let's see here. Helldivers 2, we talked about Pepper Grinder. Reveal is not a walking sim, but a horror first-person game where you're looking for your daughter, you're looking for your wife. You keep flashing back to your life in the circus. It does some really interesting, and it's hard to talk about without spoilers, because I think this game has a really fun thing going for it once you get into the meat and potatoes. There's a few chase scenes like these horror games have, but they're not very hard. Very easy to like get around them. It reminds me, now that I've played some of Soma, it reminds me a lot of Soma, that like, yeah, there are these guys that chase you, but they're on a very like tight path. They're not like the Chris Walkers of what's that game? The horror game with the where he calls you a little fish. Outlast.
Oh,
They're not like Outlast where like they're like haunting you. These guys just do a circle and you just gotta avoid that path. Yeah, I think this is a really cool game that's not on a lot of people's radars that should be, just because of what they're able to do narratively. Again, I'm dancing around it. We can come back. I think What Remains of Edith Finch does make this list.
oh yeah. I mean, we both enjoyed it. We played it as part of our collaboration with 321 Backloggers.
Backlog, but they are backloggers. You're right. I think, and I was like, yeah, it's been a few months since we played it. So the episode just came out. We're recording this on a Tuesday. The episode came out on Monday. This, and it's not like it's a recency bias, but man, like that game, it's a short little 2-hour game, and it leaves an imprint on you. And I don't want to like rehash too much of what I talked about on that episode, but the game does a lot in, talking about life and death and like the ways that we immortalize people and the way that can be damaging to those who are still alive. Yeah. So I do think this will make the list. Firewatch is one I played right after What Remains of Edith Finch. Firewatch is weird because people bitch and complain about that ending. And I'm okay with spoiling this because it's an older game at this point.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. Nothing at the end happens. You're in the fire tower. You've kind of been flirting with your boss the entire adventure. You guys were being blackmailed by a mysterious figure in the woods, and you find out that it was one of the old Watchtower people who, their kid died in an accident years ago, and they've just been lurking, listening, and kind of just just kind of been voyeuristic, just sitting in his cave, gooning to your conversation. But it does get pretty creepy. I do like the ending though, because at the end of it, and I'm blanking on the characters' names at the moment, but the two main characters don't get together because your main character has come out in the woods to, kind of get away from his wife's diagnosis. I think she has Parkinson's or Alzheimer's.
I think it's Alzheimer's. Yeah,
and he hasn't really, faced that situation and actually, determined what his future is going to be with his wife. And I mean, it's just a game about things that go unsaid, because by the end of it, you and the other character are like, she's like, I think you should go back home and talk to your wife. No matter what you say, she's like, I think you should go back home and talk to her. And there's side characters that you never meet, but they leave notes for each other throughout some of the lock boxes you find. And one is like a ladies' man, and the other one's like a shy guy who's really into the ladies' man. And I don't know if I don't know if I missed a note or something, but those characters also have stuff that goes unsaid, and their relationship is unrealized. And just like your characters you're playing as, their relationship is unrealized. And I think that's beautiful, because hell, you don't really start flirting with her until the fucking forest catches fire. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
I mean, some flirtation going on there at first, but it wasn't like, it was like very like, it's stuff that I catch myself doing, like especially when I'm talking to female colleagues. It's not so much like I'm trying to flirt to like get their attention. It's more of like a harmless, like, hey, ha ha ha, make them laugh.
I was like, where's this going, Joe? You're trying to make them laugh. You're like just trying to be a goofball.
Yeah, and some people look at it and go, were you flirting with them? It's like, no, like you don't think you are, but it comes off as sometimes.
That's just how we talk to each other. Yeah,
exactly.
And it's funny because they're kind of sing-songy back, and like, they have their jabs and their jokes, just like most normal people do. But then it's when the forest catches fire. I think they're both drunk. She's like, hey, are you awake? This fire makes me want to come see you. And I'm like, what? If you come see us, it's going to be smoky here.
Yeah.
But I do love the beauty of the fire, because by the end of it, the fire has completely overtaken the park. Everything is smoky. There's so much uncertainty in the air, and it matches perfectly with your relationship with, I guess she's your boss, right?
I don't think she's your. I think she's working the other tower, but I don't think she's your
I
boss.
think she's kind of like the ranger in charge.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think she's just in charge because she's been there long. She's been there for like a year or two, I think, or been there long enough.
Her watchtower is nicer too.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice one. I think it can stay just because it's one of those games where it's like, man, like I still want to write my piece on it. It's in draft. It's in the draft. It's in the
Just
draft.
sitting there.
It's in the draft, just sitting there. I got to finish it. Children of the Sun is a first person like assassin game, very stylistic, it looks like something you'd see off of Adult Swim, maybe in the 2010s era. And you are a child whose family was taken out by this cult, so you're going and taking them out. You have a sniper. You're kind of on rails. You're on the outset of the place where you're killing these cult members. But the twist is you shoot, your bullet hits a target, and then once it hits a target, you can choose its path to whatever the next target is, and it gets really fun because you can shoot things in the environment. Oh, that car's gas tank, shoot it, it explodes. Now you can aim somewhere else. You just one bullet, so you're just following the trajectory of that bullet. You're looking for the best path to take everybody out. There's birds in the sky that you can shoot to see oh, there's a guy hidden behind this truck. I need to shoot that bird, come down and hit this guy. And it's really inventive. And there's even one where you're at an abandoned hotel and all these cult members are kind of doing like a comedy show. And there's a gas tank you can hit right in the middle of them, take them out, and then you buzz up and get people on the roof. And you can get really good at it. It's probably my second favorite speed run type game behind Pepper Grinder this year. And I'm talking myself into keeping it for right now.
That's fine. We got a whole list to go through, so.
We do. Josh, do you fuck with Pal World?
I have not fucked with Power World in a long since it probably got released, but I did fuck with it at first.
My issue, and I know it's early access, and I know a lot of games that are basically that same template are early access, but they just feel so wonky. They feel so. Ugh.
So here's my issue: is Power World and I'll remember since we got Gray Zone Warfare on there too. I'm gonna throw this into this portion of the talk too. When they're there to basically give competition to their competition that doesn't have any, that is when I'm okay with it. So, for example, if we look back at the late 90s, I guess technically, not even early, for Pokemon had Digimon, right? I think going into the modern consoles, and even a little bit before that, Digimon really isn't a thing in North America. Like, yeah, you still get the couple other games. Like, Digimon Survive came out. There was Digimon Cyber Sleuth and all that. But beyond that, Pokemon really didn't have any competition. So I think Power World is the answer to that, because it's also more of okay, let's make a survival game where you have to use these monsters to do things, and you can use them to battle, and you can use them to explore. So it kind of also brings in Ark, where Ark for the longest time was also a game that was in beta. Had a similar premise.
I do like how the Power World articles went from, oh, this open world game rips off Pokemon, to, oh, this open world game does things that Pokemon hasn't not been wanting to do for the last 20 years.
It's like, to an extent, I understand that Pokemon is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, as far as it's going to stay as like the top monster battler, out there. The problem is, since there is no competition, I feel like they're not even giving us like it's like Call of Duty. Call of Duty doesn't give it its all. Activision or Sledgehammer, whoever the other one is at this point, Treyarch, they're copying and pasting, or they'll like put in the bare minimum effort.
My issue with this one is that, and people I feel like have been gaslighting me. They're like, oh, the survival aspects are so deep. Oh, the combat is so deep. And I'm like, I don't feel like either of those sides of things are deep. I feel like I feel like the survival aspect just has enough stuff to make you feel like you're playing a survival game. And the combat, the twist on, like, the most appealing part of the combat is the fact that you're catching these fuckers and giving them guns.
Not like that, but they have shiny versions.
Yeah, they knew
that actually shine.
They knew what the sickos in Pokemon liked, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna double down." And they knew what the sickos in Pokemon wanted that Game Freak wouldn't give, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
let's kill monsters. Let's turn them into slaves." Yeah,
Right. Oh, you want to do that?
It's up there with not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, where you'd see people attach like the little gnome guys to the
Oh God, I
to
forgot
the
about
machines
those.
and launch them or shit. It's essentially that.
Talk about a Zelda game that came and went. My gosh.
Yes. I'm kind of glad it did, but at the same time, I'm like, man, that's sad because it's basically Breath of the Wild 2. It's the sequel, and
Well,
everybody would not shut up
it's
about Breath of
because
the
Breath
Wild.
of the Wild, the people were sharing in Breath of the Wild. People were sharing stories. People were sharing things that were happening to them, as opposed to Tears of the Kingdom. What people were doing was
It was all
overshare,
about engineering.
oversharing the things that they built, like trying to go viral. When people were sharing things that happened in Breath of the Wild, they weren't trying to go viral. They were legitimately just sharing to share. And 7 years later, and it's not totally Zelda's fault. It's more of an internet thing. But by the time Tears of the Kingdom came out, it was, what can I, what totem pole man with a dick can I build to get all the likes on the twitter.com?
How many drones can I build that just shoot constant lasers at the boss to demolish them in seconds?
I do want to go back and play that because I haven't played a Zelda, a newer Zelda since probably A Link Between Worlds. Can we get rid of Pal World? I know we jumped
Yes.
around
No,
there for
we
a minute.
can. And honestly, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do Gray Zone Warfare real quick, but we're gonna knock it off the list too. Gray Zone Warfare is a similar situation where they came out and were like, "Hey, this is still a game that's like maybe late alpha, early beta, but we're releasing it because our soon-to-be competition, Escape from Tarkov, it's a Gamergate, I think it's their name, or Battlestate Games. Yeah, I don't remember. Battlestate Games. They dropped the ball so fucking hard on the ground with the new content and their new versions of the game, basically telling people who had the best version of the game, myself including, Edge of Darkness Edition, to go fuck themselves. If you're true believers of this game, you'll go buy this new version of the game.
Yeah, they really hosed you guys down, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm very salty about it to the point where I deleted it. I'm never going back to it ever again. Like the fucking balls on Nikita to come out here and say, "Well, if you're a true believer, you'll buy this version." No, you go fuck yourself. I'm a true believer. I bought the Edge of Darkness edition.
Listen here, true believer. So
So I think with Gray Zone Warfare, yes, it's a different game. Yes, it has its issues because it's a beta release right now. It's still an early development, an early release, but it brings in competition. And it's like, you know what? If it's gonna put these fuckers on their toes and either shut them down completely or make them actually realize, oh shit, maybe instead of buying cocaine and hookers, we should actually work on a game that we promised for years instead of removing content and adding stupid shit no one wants. Maybe we'll actually be better for it.
So are you okay with removing your rebound game, Gray Zone Warfare?
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day,
It's a
it
rebound.
it's a rebound. It came in, it served its purpose. Am I ever going to go back to it? Maybe, but with everything that was going on when it first released and all the bugs it had, I'm like, okay, well, it's not that it's a bad game. It's just there's a lot that needs to be worked on. And the nice thing is they're still constantly updating people. They actually have their TikTok account and Instagram are constantly having like, here's the next patch and here's what we're working on. They'll show you like all the footage of what they're working, what they're doing. And it's like that's promising because most of them will just be like, we're going to leave you in the dark and not say anything for 5-10 years, and then we're going to have this huge patch come out that doesn't really fix anything.
All right, I'm taking off your rebound game, Josh.
Go ahead.
It's good that they're keeping you updated. Oh boy, let's go down the list, see what we still got. We still got a handful here. Helldivers 2, Pepper Grinder Reveal, What Remains of Edith Finch, Firewatch, Children of the Sun, Fortnite, Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, Stellar Blade, Fallout the TV series, Fallout 76, Balatro, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Ultros, Legend of Gaia, Resident Evil 2 DualShock, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Gone Home, Rognette, Blood, #Blood, Transistor, Nuclear Blaze, Banana, Haunty, and Resident Evil 5.
Let's just do Banana real quick. We both know that fucker's not staying on.
That is a garbage ass game. That is just, guys.
It's a meme. It's a fucking meme of a game.
Play a different game. You all lost your shit when someone sold that banana that was taped to that canvas for millions and millions of dollars. Stop playing Banana. Stop playing Banana.
I mean, I even quit doing it. The only reason I bought it because I saw people were selling the bananas for money, and I'm like, dude, I want to make a quick buck. And I said, fuck it, it's not worth it.
Did you make any money?
I did not.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
I've got one I can take off here. Rognette. This is I recently played. This is a new one for me. This is a point and click adventure puzzler, top down, kind of looks like the original Fallout's almost. It's a post-apocalyptic world set in northern Finland. The writing is so, but it's an interesting story, just about the coldness of the world and how ugly things really get. And what they do a really good job of, something that I really like, is if you're paying attention to the things in the environment and just things going on, you can kind of piece together like, oh, I bet this guy did that. Especially there's a kid that draws stuff that's been going on. And at one point he draws a guy with a chainsaw, and you're like, oh shit, there's a guy who just faintly mentions needing a chain for his chainsaw and it broke doing some work. And you realized, oh, this guy might have actually not been doing work. He might have been hacking this kid's parents into pieces. It does a bunch of stuff like that are really interesting. And it's also really goofy. This is the game I posted about on our Instagram, where there's two characters in a full Biohazard get up and mask and everything, and they're standing over a grave, and the camera's pulled in on their faces, and then it pulls out on the grave, and behind the grave is a blow-up doll because the kid says that it was his dad's favorite.
Jesus.
And it's a game that's very somber, very serious, but it has these wacky moments. At one point you get tied to a chair and you have to like keep clicking until you like push yourself down the stairs so you can get out of the chair because you're tied to it. It's goofy. It's goofy as fuck. You should go play it. I don't think it'll make top 10 though. Man, it's already getting hard to cut stuff because there's so many good things on here.
Well, I'll do Resident Evil 5 real quick. I know it's not making it, but I wanted to talk about it because me and Matt played the shit out of it.
The most racist of the Resident Evils.
The most racist of them all. Plays a white guy and a... So do they ever specifically say where they're at? It's like somewhere in...
They're in Africa.
Well, is it like Northern Africa? It can't be Southern Africa.
I think
because it's more of a.
I think it is South Africa. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We don't need to get ourselves. We don't need to get ourselves in trouble. No.
You're a white guy going and killing
black people. You can say black people, Josh. It's not racist to say black people.
I just don't want to get us in trouble. So I'm like, do I say black people? Or do I say black people infected with the virus that are now basically parasites that are controlled? For a white guy, so basically a slave owner.
Chris is not a Chris.
No,
Chris is
Wesker.
A cop. Oh, Wesker. Yeah, Wesker is kind of a. Yeah,
kind of.
He lives in a plantation on that game.
And he's white, and he thinks he's superior to everybody.
Will you stop emphasizing the H in white?
White.
All right, we're taking this game off because you are going to get yourself in trouble.
But basically, yeah, it's let's not forget the jumping the shark moment of punching the fucking boulder, which I will admit they fixed in the PC version, or at least I think it's gold edition actually overall. It doesn't take nearly as long or as many button presses for Chris to punch the fucking boulder over.
I mean, I think people always say this is the point where Resident Evil jumped the shark. I think Code Veronica was where they jumped the shark.
In what sense, like, in your opinion, what in Code Veronica made them jump the shark?
Steve!
That was the fucking most annoying character. Up there with Survivor's main character. I can't think of his name.
I just, Resident Evil has... So they jumped the shark in Code Veronica. They did jump the shark here because this is the point where their over-the-shoulder era got goofy. And then 6
more actiony.
6 just became a fucking mess.
The only thing that I think I enjoyed about 6 that made it better than 5 was, at least play style wise, was you could actually aim and walk at the same time. That was the only saving grace. The medicine system, the inventory system. Honestly, I think 4 to this day still has the best inventory system.
It's very good. We're gonna get off of 5 though because it's not gonna make the top 10.
No, it can go bye. But just bringing it up that hey, we played it. I didn't enjoy it for what it was, but I'm hoping if they ever do remake it, or if whatever they may do with it, I hope they improve on it and it's not as fucking weird.
I bet you they're in a room like, okay, how do we make this game in 2024?
So let's all be honest right now. They are working on 9. They've already acknowledged that.
Mhm.
We know that Code Veronica is definitely going to get a remake. And the next question is, do we remake 1? Do we remake 0? And or do we combine 0 and 1 into one game and remake them both?
Well, I think that's what we're, because Capcom just had their thing a few weeks back and they announced the new Dead Rising remaster. So I
Yep.
bet you that they're like biting they're like they've got 9 planned. They're working on 9, and
Yep.
after 9, they're like, okay, what are, because it goes new game, remake, new game. They're in that cycle right now. So they're like, okay, we don't really have. It's going to take more work because Capcom has remade all the Resident Evils worth remaking. Now they're doing the thing that nobody does, and they're looking at remaking the ones that are kind of
Yeah, so my guess is they'll do Veronica just because they already have the Claire stuff already made up. And for that, all they have to do is make up the rest of the characters. And then with that, they'll have Chris made, so they'll be able to go back and redo 1 eventually.
Well, and I'd be interested to see how because they have all these systems. They have that Nemesis system or whatever it's called. I wonder if they would have someone like chasing you around on that island.
That'd be cool, honestly. That'd be really fucking cool. Honestly, I'd even be okay if they went back and did some of the books that they did. It was like the Columbine Cove, I think is what it's called.
Like if
And
they
that follows Rebecca. That was a pretty fucking good book.
like there's a gulp worm in Code Veronica. If
Yep.
they could be forgiven for cutting the worm from 3 by just having it be the thing that pursues you on the island, and just making it instead of just being a big bulking guy that chases you, it's an earthworm that you're kind of like have no idea when they're gonna pop up.
Yeah, and that's basically what happened in Code Veronica. I mean, yeah, there's only like 2 areas you would run and cross it from, but I'd be okay with that, it chasing you throughout the island, because that'd be super fucking cool.
That'd be awesome. But let's get back to the list. We
Yeah,
keep
let's get
doing
back to
this.
the list.
I should make video games. I'm an idea man. Woo! While we're on Resident Evil 2 DualShock.
Yes. So this is the PlayStation 1 version of Resident Evil 2. So you had the N64, the GameCube, the Dreamcast, the standard Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation, and then you had the DualShock edition, which lets you use the DualShock controller. And it had a couple extra features in there. I think this is the first one that included the battle arena mode. It also had the arranged mode on it.
There's a lot of game in Resident Evil. No matter what version of Resident Evil 2 you're getting, there's a lot of game in it.
People claim that the DualShock version is the best of them all, and as far as like speedrunning, the GameCube is better because you can actually skip the cutscene.
Oh, you can't skip the cutscenes in PlayStation version?
It is fucking annoying. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Leon meet Ada or listen to wherever the fucking officer's name is who tells you to just go.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Go save the other people. Go help the other survivors. Just go.
Do you want it to stay on this list?
No, it can go, honestly. Like it's to me it's very nostalgic because we played the shit. Like I can sit here by memory for Leon and Claire A scenario, Resident Evil Director's Cut, and Nemesis. I could sit here by memory and play the shit out of them. And I'm pretty sure for the most part you probably could too because we played it so much.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's just very nostalgic. Yeah.
I'm okay with Cunning Haunty. I think I said Cunning Haunty. Oh no. I'm okay with Cutting Haunty. This is the top down. What monochromatic? No, it's just the black and white ghost game. It's very much like Super Mario 64. You're collecting stars. You're trying to get out of the afterlife into heaven. Very cute art style. I need to go back and finish it. It'll maybe return for Game of the Year.
Nick did also make an awesome post picture of the 90s style game magazine ad for it.
That one, I did like that one. That
was cool.
The dev or the publisher, I forget who, one of them reposted it. They really like that. So,
oh, that's cool.
I did one for not Transistor. Um, the card game. Inscription. I did one for Inscription too. I thought that one would have done better because that was actually that one I felt was better, like a better concept. But I digress. Transistor. Do you think Transistor ends up staying? I like it.
I like it, but I don't think it's gonna. Honestly, it might make top 10, but I don't think it's game of the year so far. Like
It's not my favorite book club-ish game that we've played. It might be towards the bottom. I mean, we've only done that, Death Stranding, and probably what I would count what remains of Edith Finch there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. It makes you think a lot about all the influence someone has on someone else's abilities later on down life. But it's not Supergiant's best.
No, I mean, I like the premise of it. The gameplay was a little different. I still think what was the one we all played and we all enjoyed? Help me out here with the kid.
Oh, Bastion.
Bastion. I think Bastion was the best thing they had. Like that was just perfect.
I still want to play Pyre, and I still have to check out Hades too. But I have a feeling, I get why Transistor is probably towards the bottom of most people's lists, just because it does a lot. It's very experimental. I like the mixing and matching of the different abilities. It's a stellar year, and I thought it was good, but there's just better stuff on here. Transistor is coming off.
Now, I want to poke at the elephant in the room now.
Poke
Fallout
away.
and the Fallout TV series and Fallout 76.
So 76 is there just because of just the fact that like the show did so well that everyone's like, oh, 76 is like something that we can do. And the setting has always intrigued me. Again, I've only gotten through the tutorial. I've gotten out of the vault into the mountains, and that's where I've stopped.
That's it. Yeah. That's where I got to, but I remember when we were starting to, Mothman came back.
Mothman came back, and something else I've got going on. I'm really into like Appalachian ghost towns. So I lived in Appalachia for a while. I was in North Carolina for a little bit. And there's just something about ghost mountain towns that really tickles my pickle. And that sounds like that's what a lot of Fallout 76 is. You know what? We can take it off for now. I would like to come back and look at it for Game of the Year, though. I want to actually sit down and play it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there as like, it did make a big comeback. The Fallout TV series is a huge success. Like, I'm happy with all the success a lot of these game franchises are getting in television, between like The Last of Us, Fallout, League of Legends with their show. They're on blanks all of a sudden. I'm just happy with that success, but at the same time, it hurts my heart every time I talk to my in-laws and they bring something up like that. Like, oh, did you see that The Last of Us show, that zombie show? It's really good. Like, I played the game. Don't be
a gatekeeper, Josh. Don't be a gatekeeper.
I'm not. It's super awkward because they ask if you've seen it, and I'm like, I've actually played the game. I know how it all ends.
You should just start pretending that every show they bring up is a game. Like, oh yeah, I've played the Breaking Bad video game.
Yeah. I am Walter White. I am the one who knocks.
I was the one who knocked. So I'll get rid of 76. I think the TV series can stay for right now just because it's done gangbusters.
It's so good. I love the main actress. What's her name?
I'm blanking. If it's not Goggins, I'm not. If it's not Goggins, I'm not going. No, Goggins is really. Everyone's really good in that. Even the guy who plays the Brotherhood of Steel recruit, who eventually becomes not a recruit. He plays the hoorah military side of it so well. Like he's a grunt.
I love what's her name as an actress. She's fantastic what she does, and honestly, she's super cute. So it's a win-win for me.
She play like the okie dokie. Like I can feel like, I don't know if the okie dokie is a meme, but I could see it being a thing down the line. And she plays the innocent. She does a good job of transitioning from like this completely innocent vault dweller who's like, oh, arranged marriage. I'm gonna get married and be happy and
no more cousin stuff.
And then she gets up, like she transitions into just living on the surface really well.
I just
Even but keeps her demeanor. Like, most actors, the character is okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie, and then they would lose the okie dokie by the end.
she kept it the whole way through.
She keeps that aspect of herself. She keeps that carefree but still kind of curious mentality that her character starts out with, and I really like that. And then Walton Goggins. Need I say more? Balatro is my daddy needs a few minutes on the toilet by himself video game. It's Josh. Have you played Balatro?
No, I've only seen videos of it.
It's the most crack of the video games.
Which cracks me up because I've seen the videos and I'm like, I don't understand this. How is it this popular?
Dude, it's just people. Well, first of all, people are gambling addicts. So you give them a game that's poker and they're like, I'll play that shit.
And just some of the shit that they'll do, like they hit those huge ass multipliers and just let it sit there for like 30 minutes while it counts up. I'm like, Jesus Christ, can you imagine? Like, I'm going to sit here, start this, and then walk away and come back and hope that it's done.
The count, I've never seen any long ones, but the ones I've experienced, and they've been some big combos. My combos are pretty big. They're not that bad. It doesn't take that long.
I've seen some pretty fucking big ones.
But you can hit some buttons and they go away. So I think Balatro stays.
But people like just to sit there and like hear that ring and that dinging noise that comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I hear that. I've got 2 Metroidvanias on the list. So there's Prince of Persia: Lost Crown and Ultros. I think if one stays, it's Prince of Persia, just because it is a fucking tight ass experience.
I can't believe how quiet of a release it had. Like compared to like Metroid, I'm just gonna throw Metroid Dread as the example. Metroid Dread had a bunch of buzz. Now, obviously, not only because of the release, it's been a long time since we had it. We're getting the finale of the 2D Metroid games, but at the same time, there was hey, let's emulate the Switch on our PC and our Steam Decks and all that, and let's show you how you can play it before it even gets released.
So I think Prince of Persia did okay. I think what it had going against it was that on PC it was Uplay only. Yeah. I think console-wise, everyone else was fine. People hate it when you can't get stuff on Epic or on Steam, and I get that. But I'm also of the mindset of like, just play it wherever the fuck it is. Who gives a shit what service it's on?
So here's my problem with that though. I'm totally fine of it being released on a different one. So for example, Epic. It's not that I hate Epic, but if I go to try and play like any of my gacha games, Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, I can't play that on my Steam Deck. They actually flag it as an illegal thing, and they'll actually ban my account. I just want to play it on my Steam Deck. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm okay with downloading the Epic Launcher. I'm okay with running it that way. That's fine. But when you tell me I cannot play it, even though it is a powerful enough system not only to run it, but it makes more sense for me to play it on my Steam Deck than it does my PC, we have a problem.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, that's here nor there. I mean, at the end of the day, like you get your games where you're gonna get them. If you're upset that you can't play the Lost Crown on your Steam Deck, I mean, you've got another Prince of Persia option that just came out. You have the options. You have options. That's welcome to capital. But anyway, the Lost Crown, really solid Metroidvania. You have to really think about how you're going to use your powers to navigate certain areas. The boss fights are challenging. I was really concerned about how the different like biomes would be not different enough, but they find a way to make them like very different. The story's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of the gist of it with like the time aspect of it. Ultros is that Metroidvania on a spaceship called I think it's the sarcophagus. You're trying to bring life back to it. It has you lose your powers every time you beat a boss, which I wasn't crazy about, but it has this aspect called the living network where you're trying to connect. You plant plants throughout the station, and you're trying to connect the technology to the plants and just have this long stream of networks that allows you to fast travel faster around the ship. That's really cool. They don't introduce it until the end of the game, which is like, what the fuck are we doing, you guys? Still a beautiful game, beautiful soundtrack, beautiful like environments. It's a messy It's a messy Metroidvania, the messiest of it. And I'm sure if I jumped back in, I'd have a good time with it. But I don't have the time for that right now. And I'd rather jump back into the POP, the Lost Crown. So I'll get rid of Ultros. Gone Home was another game I played when I got on my walking game adventures in the beginning of the year. This one, first of all, it's crazy that you can beat Gone Home in like 10 seconds, I think is the time. You can basically get into a secret area, like no cheat codes or anything, hit a notebook, go into the top of the house and be done. But no, this is just this is what started it all. This is what gave us Edith Finch. This is what gave us Firewatch. Really just somber, like family story that you think is going to be a scary game. They don't stop from fucking with you a few times. It doesn't keep them from fucking with you. They're like, okay, you think it is going to be scary? We'll give you a jump or two. But a fun game. I wouldn't put it on this top 10. But you know, I appreciate the foundation it's created for the rest of this genre going forward. So I'm going to cut Gone Home. We are down to 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16. We got to cut 6.
6 more. Okay, so let's talk about Stellar Blade.
Yeah, I was wondering when the horniest game on this list was going to come up.
So let's get something straight right now. Stellar Blade is honestly, I think it's a beautiful game. I think they really did a great job with it. As far as like the environments, what Nick said earlier, like the biomes of each area, the enemies are really creative. The story is and there was already a bunch of pushback on the game with the characters' design and outfits. Very much a eye pleaser for
the
waifu
male
lovers.
The male gaze.
Yes. Beyond that, though, there's not much there to really enjoy and appreciate. Like, I think if they release the DLC like they're talking about, or once there's a sequel in plans, maybe. But right now, it's just like hey, we were wanting to make something that was geared towards the heterosexual males who just want a waifu but don't want to say it out loud.
It was a game carried by fabricated controversy.
So yeah, I wouldn't. It's not a game of the year, but I still enjoyed it for what it is. Like, it still has its Dark Souls theme as far as like gameplay goes, but it's nothing like game of the year worthy.
Josh is going to it's going to be on top of Josh's list, on Josh's personal list.
I'd make top 10 if we're going to be honest. I can admit that far, but I gotta like it for the gameplay. I really do.
The
boss fights are really challenging too, and I love it.
It's going to be number one, my lord. For the sake of there being a lot of good games on this list, we can cut the Fallout TV series.
Okay.
Maybe down the line it makes it into another category when we do Game of the Year at the end of the year. But I do think it can go.
I'm gonna give Nick a little more of a breather because he talked a lot lately. Legends of Gaia.
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette while you talk about this.
Yeah, you go ahead and smoke your cigarette.
How far have you gotten, by the way?
So I am in the new area.
Okay. Have you fought the tree sucker?
I'm just about to fight the tree sucker.
Okay.
So, for those not aware, this was a PS1 JRPG, turn-based. Not your typical turn-based where you just pick attack or magic, whatever. This was the kung fu. You do, you pick what, if you're going to use your high kick, low kick, left arm, right arm. And then if you did a certain combination, you could do cool moves. This was actually, I think this was technically, I jokingly say this, Pokemon before Pokemon was a thing, because the Shrew could be argued to be the Pokemon, and you capture them with your raw Shrew.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically, the knockoff of Pokemon monsters were allies with humans. They wanted to, they used the Shrew to cultivate their life and make things easier. And then one day, a mist started to take over the world and started corrupting the Shrew, and they started to kill off or attach themselves to other humans, corrupting them. And you grow up like 10, 15 years later, and you find the first Rashru who's there to help revive the Genesis trees that help clear out the mist. Very fun, lots of cool things. But I mean, honestly, it wasn't enough to love this. It's a very nostalgic game. Like, it's honestly a game I'm shocked. Not only did it not get a true sequel, I mean, technically it did get a sequel, but it didn't get a true sequel. But we haven't seen anything from them since then, as far as like big name or remakes or anything like that.
Does this game still stand?
For the sake of the list, I'm going to go no. However, if you've never played it or seen it before, highly recommend it. Really, really fun game.
I think it's going to make Josh's list.
It will make my list.
All right, and then there were
14 left
3,
now?
6, 9, 12. Is that 13?
Oh, 13, even better.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep.
Okay, well, we've got 3 other games we need to talk about before we can start removing and listing.
Banisher's Ghost of New Eden is I don't want to call it a Souls-like, but it is a like over-the-shoulder action kind of hack and slash almost.
I say it's like Dark Souls meets Witcher.
It's very and it's like, hey, do you like Buffy? Do you like the Monster of the Week? Like, it's like that, but set in pre-colonial pre-colonial Americas. There's a love story at the center of it. The fact that it came from the team that just did that mountain climbing game from last year, and they also do the what are the story-based games? The Life is Strange.
Yep.
Yeah. And the fact that this feels like a B game, and I love B games. I will never not love B games. I do think this hangs, and I'd be willing to take Fortnite off for Banisher.
Okay, I'll allow
that. But what hangs about it is it like, yeah, you're trying to revive the love of your life who died on a mission trying to take out this powerful ghost, and now you're trying to get back to kill that ghost while deciding on if you will bring your love back or banish her. And you have all these like little side missions of people who are being haunted by ghosts, and you can help. And yeah, it's like kind of like preparing for a hunt in The Witcher. Man, I can't believe we're so close. Blood. I really like Blood's art style. I don't think the game really stands out from a gameplay basis. It reminds me a lot of Nobody Saves the World, just a little less complicated on the combat side, because combat's basically just hitting X.
Yeah.
You can throw a pencil or throw a bomb or something, but it's you're hitting X. You're rolling and you're hitting X. Blood. I love Blood. It's a good game. Blood can come off.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake from the PS4, starts right at the tail of Cloud talking about Sephiroth, what happened to them in their final mission. In Cloud's old hometown with Tifa. And then right after that, you start right there at, I forget the town name, but wherever you're telling the story at, to the party. Obviously, it's not the same as the second. No, is it the second? Yeah, that's what the start of the second disc is. So it kind of picks up there for the second disc of the original game. Does a really great job of transitioning everything from the game, the original, to this. Obviously their new engine and their story that they're telling. Lots of curves that make you think, well, fuck, what's going to happen that's different here? Because obviously with Remake, there was some differences, and people are all like, well, what's going on here? They do a really great job of that, and they do a great job of introducing Cloud's not flashbacks, but his hallucinations with Sephiroth. Like, they do a really good job with that. And I also agree that they do a really great job with the Black Robes, his followers. Story's really good. Lots of cool boss fights. The enemies are really well designed. My only thing that I think that I would have to like mark it down for like what the fuck is the collection system. Not collection system, but like their side quest thing. Only because they have what every fucking open world game has of okay, you have to climb this tower, you have to activate it, and then you get everything you can do in that area and that within that diameter, that
Oh, that's
radius.
disgusting. I hate that.
Now you don't necessarily have to do that to do those other things.
But we all have lizard brains and we're going to do it anyway.
Not only that, but they're like, okay, well, hey, if you do this, you unlock more lore of the area. You get these points that you can use with Chadley, the really annoying kid that everybody hates.
I'm surprised you know all this because you've been stuck on the beach ever since you got there.
No, I finished the beach.
No, you're still no. The bit is that you're still on the
Oh,
beach being a disgusting horny person.
I keep accidentally turning off the game before it saves. I can't help it.
Oh, you're gonna corrupt your save, or you're gonna rub yourself raw if you don't stop it.
Dude, it's already too late for that.
Okay, rebirth stays. I'm surprised you don't have like a dragon on here.
I honestly didn't. I need to go back and play it a lot more to actually truly appreciate it. I thought about putting it on here, but I'm like, I can't do it justice. Like the review, I think I did it justice, but to sit here and say it's the winner for GOTYSO or say it's top 10, I'm not going to sit here and say I did justice. I'm going to be able to say the game of the year for sure and be like, yes, it 100% deserves it because there's so much to love and enjoy about it. But I feel like I only cracked the surface with it because there's so much to do.
Okay, so we need to cut one game. I think Nuclear Blaze is gonna stay. I think Firewatch can go. If
Okay.
I think if one more walkie narrative game is gonna remain, I think it's What Remains of Edith Finch.
I unironically what remains of Edith Finch.
All right, we're down to 10. We are down to 10. We got to get them in some kind of order.
Oh, this is gonna be not tough.
8, 9, 10. Oh, not 20. 10.
So how about we do this, Nick? What of this list? What to you screams middle of the road? Like it's number 5, basically.
Well, I was gonna say I think number 10 for me personally on this list is Reveal.
Okay.
Just because
I'm not gonna argue with
what
it.
really stood like gameplay wise, it's not doing anything new, but what the narratively, it really stuck with me, and it still sticks with me all these months later. Here, let's read what's left for everyone in no particular order. So the 10 remaining games are Helldivers 2, Pepper Grinder, What Remains of Edith Finch, Children of the Sun, Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, Balatro, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Nuclear Blaze, and Reveal.
So middle of the road. I think that's a good start because we obviously don't want to do number 1 because number 1 is what we're working towards. But I figure if we have an idea, like an identifier for it.
I mean, I've got a number 1, but I'll hold off.
Yeah, hold off on that one. I'd be curious. I want to get to at least the top 3 remaining before we decide like what's number 1.
All right, so I think The Lost Crown is probably like number 5.
That's acceptable. I from what I saw and what little I played in the demo, I absolutely, and I know you enjoyed it too.
I want to check out the other one. Like I'm kind of on a Prince kick, and they just announced that Sands of Time remake's still another year off. So I'm on a Prince kick.
Okay with that. I'm okay with that.
So Prince of Persia: Lost Crown at number 5.
I think Helldivers is a strong number 6.
See, I think it's higher.
Really? Where are you thinking Helldivers should be at?
I see Helldivers at a 4 or 3.
Okay, I'm okay with 4.
Just because it feels so good to play.
It does, and they're still bringing a bunch of content to it, and I think it's one of those games that honestly made such a strong impression. We'll probably see more, not copycats, but
like
we'll see some more copycats.
When the holidays hit in December and we're all like on Discord, like, oh fuck, what do we play? It's gonna be
Helldivers 2.
It's gonna be Helldivers 2.
Do you want to go spread the democracy?
You guys want to spread some democracy this Christmas holiday? Balatro's like crack, but I could see Balatro being number 9.
I still don't see like the appeal to it. I keep watching it. I'm just like, I don't get it.
Do you have Josh? It's the fact that you can just pick it up and play a real quick run on Steam Deck.
I can do that with a Call of Duty.
Not like that. Not like this. Not like this.
Um,
Balatro to number 9.
Fuck, I think I know what your number 1 is now that I see what's left on the list.
Banishers, I think, can go towards the bottom of the list. Just because again, story wise, I like it. Gameplay wise, I like it. I do think the gameplay gets a little. I think I'm trying to think of what it is that really irked me on it. The reviews from the beginning of the year, so I'm blanking on it pretty bad.
I mean, from if I had to pick one thing on it that just really irked me, I would say the stutterness of it. It wasn't very smooth with combat.
Yeah, but
It
I
felt
get that. Like that's kind of a B game thing. Like it kind of reminds me like I hated Callisto Protocol, but I liked the jankiness of Callisto Protocol.
You know what I think of? You know what this kind of reminds me of? That I think about it. Remember that game on the 360?
Odyssey,
No.
Dark
Not is
Sector,
not human.
Too Human.
Too human. Thank you.
See, it doesn't even do that for me. I remember that game I reviewed 2 or 3 years ago, Evil West,
Yeah.
where it was a lot of gunplay, but like you could get up and just like kind of duke it out with guys.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of Evil West and Callisto Protocol from that standpoint. I do think it's a strong number 8, though.
Okay, I can do that.
Where do you see Final Fantasy?
Honestly, I see it at number 3.
You do? You know, I mean, a lot of things I've heard about it is that like it leans too heavy on the mini games.
It does. It's the same issue. It's not really an issue. It's the same thing I have with
Yakuza,
Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much to do, and it's not that it's a bad thing. I mean, it's a bad thing because I'm getting sidetracked. I'm like, well, fuck, now I got to sit here and play this mini game for an hour because I'm a completionist. I sit there and want to finish the shit till I'm good, and that's my problem. It's not a bad thing to have. It's just my problem is I'm going to do whatever's in front of me because I like to 100% as much as possible before I have to go back and either do a new game plus or a second playthrough to pick up the things that I was being super lazy about rather than researching. Just did it.
Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to 3. The mini game thing. I'm like, okay, if that's your biggest issue with it, you don't have to play the mini games. You can just
No, like you can do like the mandatory stuff, like you have to do like the pirate shooting game at least once. You have to do the chocobo race at least once. Like, yeah, that shit makes sense. Like, I get it.
I do hate that aspect of it that like, oh yeah, you did it. Now it's a mini game. I get why they
How-
do it because it's like they've designed it. Why would they design it and only use it one? I get it, but also it's like, no, give me other shit to do. Like I'm just gonna go over here and fight. Fuck you.
But I think that's also where it made it better than the remake was. Remake didn't have nearly as much, but I think that's what gives the beauty of it is one is more of like the steampunk city, everything's super dark and the world is, not what it looks like. And then you go into the outside world and there's so much to do.
I, well, it's kind of like my old complaint of like I used to hate in Gears of War games where this is like this corpser is a boss enemy, and then now there's here's all these other corpsers that
Yep.
you're fighting that are. It's like no, like I want the boss to feel unique, but then at the same time, from now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I get it. You put all the work into that creature. If you just limit it to once, that you're really flushing a lot of money down the drain by having to design all these extra creatures.
My only pivoting point to that is if you're gonna throw them into the game like that, don't make it like okay, well now that you beat this boss, you can now play as them and then be super weak as you're playing them. Make it okay, either they are just as powerful as when you fought them, or if you're going to include them as a standard enemy going forward, make sure you have some type of ability or weapon or something that makes you more powerful than them now, so it doesn't feel nearly as like, well, fuck, what? They're just standing there.
I think Gears did a pretty good job of that. Everything was always about the same
They did
level
with
toughness.
like with the Brumox, for example, in 2, when you see the corpsers flying around, the corpsers flying around and stuff, that makes more sense because the Brumox is more of a terrifying thing to fight against.
Oh, they're fucking scary.
Yeah.
So here, let's run down this order. At 10, we've got Reveal, 9, Balatro, Banishers, Ghost of Eden at number 8, number 5, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, 4, Helldivers 2, 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and yet to be ranked Nuclear Blaze, Children of the Sun, What Remains of Edith Finch, and Pepper Grinder.
I was not on 6 and 7, Nick.
I think Children of the Sun fits into one of those.
I think What Remains of Edith Finch fits the other.
Oh, you son of a bitch! I thought What Remains would be a little higher. So I think Children of the Sun. Children of the Sun at 7. If I can see where there we go. And then What Remains of Edith Finch at 6. I forgot how much of a boner you had for Nuclear Blaze.
Dude, Nuclear Blaze was just so good. I figure Pepper Grinder is probably your number one.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have? Would it be one Nuclear Blaze? Or, I'm sorry, one Pepper Grinder, 2 Nuclear Blaze?
I'd be okay with that. Yes.
You're not gonna fight me?
No, honestly, hearing you talk about playing Pepper Grinder with Gus melts my fucking heart.
Good kid.
It's just, I mean, let's get a little personal here, Nick, with fans. I honestly, the only good memories that I can think of with our parents is centered around video games.
Yeah, playing the Resident Evils. Shit, is that the only one I can think of?
Playing not Need for Speed.
Gran Turismo.
No, not Gran Turismo. The racing game where you had the game where you can crash and stuff.
Burnout Takedown. 3 Takedown. Burnout 3
Takedown. Play
Takedown.
that with Dad all the time.
Yeah, it's the games that you play with someone who is just learning, or someone who doesn't normally play games, that really stick out to you.
And like I said, hearing you talk about Gus playing Super Meat Boy, and then talking about Pepper Grinder as an example, I was like, okay, this is the kind of shit I love to hear.
So I think we have an order here, and Nuclear Blaze was just I'm honestly, I was ready to fight for Edith Finch, but I got Pepper Grinder at the top, so I'm gonna leave Edith Finch down there at number 6.
It's not that I don't like Edith Finch; it's just we had Nuclear Blaze and Pepper Grinder, and I enjoyed Nuclear Blaze.
Josh just doesn't care about all those dead family members of the Finch family.
There's a reason why they're dead, okay?
Josh is like, leave them in the past.
Leave them in the ground.
Josh did a better job of getting the point of Edith Finch than I did. So yeah, this looks like our order. Let's run it back real quick. So at number 10, we've got Reveal. At number 9, we've got Balatro. At number 8, we've got Banisher's Ghost of New Eden. At number 7, we've got Children of the Sun. Number 6, we've got What Remains of Edith Finch. At number 5, we've got Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. At number 4, we've got Helldivers 2. At number 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. At number 2, Nuclear Blaze. And at number 1, Pepper Grinder. That is a good, solid list. This is a good, solid, abbreviated GOTYSO.
Congrats to our top 10.
We did good work here. But hey, you know what? It's been a stellar year. I'm surprised. I thought there'd be more non-2024 games there, but we still got a bunch of 2024 in there.
I think I pretty much had most of the under 2024 games on there.
I mean, I think it was a pretty healthy spread, Josh, if I'm being honest.
That's okay. Hey, we did a great job, though. Very good job.
Hey, we're going to pat ourselves on the back. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to record our bonus episode that comes out a week after this. That'll be us doing a tier list of Batman the Animated Series villains. I am going to be completely lost at this, but we'll see what happens.
I'll be here to guide you, Nick. Don't you worry.
He says he will guide me. I'm scared. So we're going to go record that. Thank you for joining us for this abbreviated GOTYSO. I promise next year will hopefully be a longer one. Hey, everyone, follow Smashing Game Time wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, YouTube Podcast, YouTube Proper, where you can see our beautiful faces. We also have a website, smashinggametime.com, where you can find the podcast. You can find words that we've written. We're going to have our personal top 10 list. Josh, get to work on that before I hunt you down for GOTYSO. What else? Oh, yeah. You can find me, Nick, on Twitter at... Man, my brain. You can find me, Nick, on Twitter at That Kaufman. You can also find me on Twitch and YouTube at Nick Fat Night. My Tuesday night streams have kind of had to take a break just with everything going on the writing side of things. Josh, where can the people find you?
You can find me anywhere and everywhere at I'm Josh Sang.
So yeah, hey, this was GOTYSO. Next week you're gonna have a quick little bonus episode of us doing a tier list for Batman villains, and then we'll get back to the regular stuff on what day is that? You'll get the regular GOTYSO when we say you can have it. We'll be back to the usual stuff back by July 24th. There we go. Whew. Man. It has been a busy summer. I don't know about you, Josh.
It's been a very, very busy summer.
It's been rough. It's been very rough. Just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff changing, a lot of work, lots and lots of work between the real work and the side work to do other work eventually. I'm saying work a lot. I'm going to stop. Hey, guess what? Our intro and outro song's by Alex Marvin Clark. It's called Hunt Him Down. Go check out his SoundCloud linked in the show notes. Do it now. Do it now. Do it. Do it. Do it. Everybody, this has been Smashing Game Time. We hope you had a smashing gate. Smashing Gate, yeah. Everybody, this has been Smashing Game Time. I hope you had a smashing great time. We'll see each and every one of you next time.